Hey, I'm Samantha.
And I'm Nicole, and you're listening to The Power of We.
Each week, we will share with you our crazy journey of sobriety and success as a mother daughter.
Our past is complicated, but it has made for two fascinating lives.
We have healed together through love and strength, through mutual respect. We've created an unconditional bond.
Our goal is to empower you, the audience, to be the best you can be.
Together, we will share tips of motivation, mindful tools, and explore our guest journey so we can all win together.
You are listening to The Power of We.
Hi, Nicole.
Hey Samantha, how are you doing on this beautiful afternoon?
I am doing incredible. I can't even tell you. You know what? It's all about gratitude for me, especially with you today. We're just, we set out to have goals in our life. Mm-hmm. And now you're with me doing goals that I can't even believe that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, a big goal, accomplishment for me today is I actually hit 2 years of sobriety.
Woo!
And, we talk about, especially at work and in my personal life, and I know we talk about it a lot, is having goals and setting goals that are, I learned about this from different influential people, right? You set a goal here, and then you hit it here, but you're still hitting that mark, right?
You got to take one day at a time.
And one
That's
day at
what's
a time.
really important.
Yeah.
And, some of our listeners, they always ask us, how did you get there? And it's so important that we really
emphasize one day at a time.
It's so important.
And actually setting those goals. So we're going to talk to someone today who I am very excited to
Me too. I can't wait.
And has big goals and aspirations and who has achieved so many of them. So I would love to introduce Simonetta Lein. Is a fashion influencer, host, TV personality, model, author, and activist. Simonetta was named in Forbes' top 5 world fashion influencers and is the founder of the Wishwall Foundation. And let's not forget the host of the Simonetta Lein Show.
Woo!
Welcome.
Yeah! Let's get this party started. Hey, Simonetta, how are you?
I'm good. I'm with two beautiful blondies. So
look at
3.
you.
Blondies. So, who's better than me? So happy.
It's so exciting to have you on here. I know we have so many questions for you. Nicole's going to take a deep dive. But, of course, I have to just ask you this one question. Yeah. What was it like when you left Italy and came to America?
Whoa. When you were asking me that, I felt like, my stomach doing like this.
Yeah.
So in a way, and actually I want just to do a shout out for Nicole for what you were saying about sobriety.
Thank you.
Total different topic, but somehow it felt the same way. When you have like a world that and then you have to put the effort to change it. Yeah. And it's like, like that, because that's all and you have to put all of your effort and all of your life. Your life, it's literally a stake, or you change or something, like serious will happen. That's what I felt, like I was in a situation from outside, beautiful. Everyone thought I was so successful. I was successful, but my country per se was going through a big depression that, by the way, never really recovered. When I left, the youth unemployment was over 60%. Wow. So it was very sad, but that's all right? I grew up there. Right. I was speaking Italian. I always had the luck to speak English since I was a child because my parents, they raised me in kind of an unconventional way. I had people from all over the world. So I was lucky in that sense. Yeah. But hey, going, in another nation with like the other side of the ocean, changing language. I always joking. I was tweeting in Italian, right? And now I have to start all over in English. Start a new life, get married, because we worked together with my now husband for 10 years then. Mm-hmm. We said, okay, now we go, like, let's get married. Let's do everything, new. So my stomach literally felt like that. And my legs were, shaking. My mental health, it was like all over the places. I had to, restart. Yeah. And I have learned, like you were saying before, Nicole, like, every day one little step, to go back to those things that really matter, like my family, my husband. Look at the house that was coming along, and then I say, okay, calm down, you can do this. And then I did not give up 1 inch. I continued, and I said, go big or go home. So, I founded the Wishwell Foundation, where at that time, I didn't even know what it was like to have a non-for-profit. I had to learn, a lot of people don't know. You have, of course, it's something called 501c3. You have to have a lawyer. You have to do a lot of, procedures.
Right.
I was very well known in my country, but hey, I wasn't known in this country. So I had to restart, from scratch. So I had to dare. I remember when I came, I said, I used to work for Vanity Fair. So I said, let me try with the Huffington Post. And they accepted me. So that, of course, helped me. And then Entrepreneur accepted me. And then Forbes accepted me. And then, more and more people started to know me. I modeled Madison Square Garden. I modeled a New York Fashion Week. And my social media started to grow. And, step by step, there you go. So again, to finally answer to your question, that was the feeling that I felt. It's something that, again, I think that it can be relatable to so many, people,
definitely.
or so many different, situations. Like, again, I did bring it, to what Nicole said about sobriety, even if it's totally unrelated, but it is related because it's a big change, in your life. And if you have the courage to step outside of your comfort zone and, go for it, then life pays you back. So that's what I feel in my heart.
That's beautiful. And what was the one thing that made you want to leave Italy and come to the States?
Like I was mentioning, youth unemployment was very, very high, over 60%. So I was, again, from outside, I was working at Vanity Fair. I was working in the radio. Right. I was very well known. I actually got hired in one of the biggest TV show in Italy. And honest to God, the real reason that I never really shared with anybody, if not in very sporadic moments, that show that actually hired me is probably, when you have many things, but then that was the final piece, because that show it's actually very interesting as far as a show. Basically, we see there's no much justice in the world in general. And, in Italy, especially, there's a couple of programs that should help people to, for instance, if you're, suffering an injustice, someone frauded you or something like that, you go to those shows and you tell your stories, and they go undercover and they, try to help out. So I was hired to go undercover and do those things. So I always felt, justice as something, I want to help out. That's why I have a non-for-profit. To me, if I can change people's lives, I take it personally. So I was so happy about it. And I did my first undercover thing. Of course, I was very nervous. I had a little camera. I had to pretend to be a model that wanted to get actually a job as basically a personal shopper for a very, very rich person. Okay. So, of course, it sounded a little bit strange as a story, but, I went along with it to try to understand if it was fake, by the way. And it was fake. It was just a stunt to basically publicity. But what really broke my heart and probably gave me the final, step and say, okay, you now go and go after your dream, is that when I brought, my kids to the production, they told me, okay, great that you found out that it was a scam. There were, of course, I was the model. There were many models, right? They wanted to do that. And I didn't like the fact that the production said, okay, that guy that is doing this is a scam artist, but all the other girls that want to do this, there are, can I say, they're whores. That's literally how they call them. And I felt like, excuse me, those are like a lot of girls that are just putting all of their dreams there. Yeah. The majority of them that were in university studying, it was a really one that was studying to be a rocket scientist. Wow. So, why do you have to judge them? Why do you have to put them under that lens? And so I tried to speak with them. I said, listen, I'm not comfortable. I will go now, I take out my undercover position. I'll go there. I'll tell them that this, I figure it out, but I don't want to speak bad about the girls. And they told me, you have to choose between, the story they were putting together or, the story that you see. And I said, I'm not comfortable in ruining these girls' lives. And they looked at me and said, are you saying no to our show? And I said, I'm saying no to your show. And that was like, of course, from an external point of view, probably everyone thought she's crazy. But listen, my soul is happy. I could have never, ever lived with, okay, being famous and, arrive destroying other people's lives.
Right.
So
Well,
probably took me, a few more years to again restart everything. But look where I am now, and I
right.
am clean. I did not destroy anybody's life. So if there's a message that I can give outside there, always remember when you do things against others, it comes back to your karma.
Yeah.
Maybe, you see it as, in that moment you don't realize, but always do the right thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's a really interesting point that you're making. So basically, there's so much going on right now with mental health in America, right?
Yes.
We deal with it every day. We talk about it on the podcast. You're talking
Yes.
about, dealing with it in your career as a model.
Yes.
What interests me is, the modeling industry. Okay.
Yes.
So you're in the modeling industry. Do you feel like you could help bring awareness to this exact thing you're talking about in America?
Absolutely.
Mm.
I often, a lot of girls, also young girls, come to me and say, I want to be a model. What would you do? So the world has changed. I'm a millennial, but of course I've done the old world, I would say, the castings and all of that still, of course, do exist. And I always say, if I would have a daughter that will come to me and tell me, or best friend, I would say, you have social media. That is a superpower nowadays. Use
Right.
it because you
Right.
can create a name for yourself. You can create your own brand so that brands will want to work with you.
Right.
You can make your own income, be independent, and then create, again, that name for yourself that probably then they'll even come and call you to, do the catwalk. That's actually, for instance, what happened to me here in America. I came here,
Right.
like I
Wow.
said, nobody knew me, right? So I continue with social media to, make myself known until one day Richie Rich reached out and said, would you like to model for me in Madison Square Garden? I mean, I don't know if you guys know Richie Rich. He's still, of course,
Yes.
super
Yeah.
famous.
I do.
Okay, he did at the Rat. I mean, amazing.
Yeah.
Shout out to him, incredible artist. So, he just fell in love with me as a person with my brand and what I was standing for. And then he said, would you come and, model for me? So from, model perspective, there's nothing bigger than that, right? But I achieved in a different way. Like I said, I did the traditional way. I'm not discredited. I'm not saying, but again, ponder, because if your mental health doesn't allow you to stay stable, and also your body, I'll be very honest, and that is also something I did not speak about much when I was younger. I literally was told, hey, you have a perfect body, you're tall, your mom and dad made you beautiful, so thank you to my mom and my dad, because that's all of their result. But of course they told me, if you want to keep it that way, basically told me to stop eating. Somehow that
Which
was, along the line.
you hear that a lot.
Yeah.
You hear that a lot.
I was 18, 17, 16 when I was
Right.
hearing these things. And when you were so young, and I remember that I went to my dad, and my dad is a medical doctor. My mom is a psychotherapist. And thank goodness I had the courage to tell him. I said, they told me this today. My father said, what? Excuse me? What did they tell you?
Yeah.
Thank goodness they gave me the good example, because a lot of girls don't have that support system.
Yeah.
And what happens? They stop eating. They
And that-
start doing drugs. They start, again, go to alcohol and all those issues. And again, first of all, there's no need. Second, again, nowadays you can own your own brand. There's social media. So don't do that.
Yeah. And I know you talk about like how people said you shouldn't eat when you were younger. Like when I was
Yes.
younger, especially when I was going to school in Arizona, I personally had an eating disorder, and it was like the cool thing to not eat. And it was like, you're not supposed to be over 100 pounds. Like that's just
Yeah.
like known. Like,
Yeah.
all
But
of
that
the
was
sorority
also
girls were,
Nicole.
like,
That was also because you're around a million beautiful women, girls,
and,
like
we
models.
all compete with each other, and it was like that culture.
Exactly.
And that was also thrown onto our social medias, right? So I
Yeah.
wonder how like someone like how you make that known to like the world that that's not
the
the
norm.
only way. That's not the normal, right?
Which one you're saying, to fight against each other, or what is exactly your question?
Like how so girls, especially like in college, in their sororities, they compete with each
Yes.
other, but that's because like I mean, drugs is obviously an issue, but also
Yes.
we don't eat, and we think that like there's one. You think of like the model body, right? There's one
Yes.
perfect body, and that's what everyone
Yes.
needs to look like. And how can we, as like a group of like women, powerful women, help girls see that like their body image is perfect just the way it is, and like being healthy is one thing, and being like, like that model on the cover is a different thing.
Absolutely. So again, first of all, let's just say it. Photoshop exists.
Right.
So, girls, if you're watching us, don't think that we're all so perfect. Okay. So that's number one, that you see, content, real life
Yes.
and Instagram life. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, true.
So I'm not saying, and I always be very honest, I'm not saying that we don't have to look our best, right? I mean, there's nothing, without exaggerating, in my humble opinion. I mean, being natural is always, to me, fascinating, but I don't judge anybody. If you want to do your Photoshop, if you want to, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But at least let's call it how it is, right?
Right.
There's Photoshop, there are filters. So first of all, recognize that. Okay, so number one. Number two, again, social media. I always bring it there because I feel that social media, of course, it can be very, very detrimental in one hand because, again, there's a lot of competition. You keep on, seeing other people. But on the other hand, if you use it wisely, it can actually liberate you. So, for instance, again, once you, first of all, know about this little rule that I just shared, then you also have to learn to see other girls and other women through that lens, and that is very, very important, so that you also understand there are women there and also men. Hey, the pressure is on men as well. So there are people as well, and they will want to, of course, appear as best as they can, but you should start to wanting to do it for just feel fit, feel okay with yourself, feel rewarded, not to impress others. So what I'm trying to say, I'm not saying that it's easy because, again, competition is out there. Our model in our brain model since we're children, they teach us to be better, but again, there's a thin line, in my humble opinion, between again trying really to be better for yourself and trying to constantly have a, how could you say, look at others and say, oh, I want to be better than her, I want to be a surpasser. Social media can also teach people that we can instead join forces together, and we can and also as women, now in this case, sharing with women, if a woman wins, I win too. And we have to remind ourselves this. It seems very metaphoric, but it is true. As women, we can stand together. We have to stop this thing to, again, be one against each other. And I think, again, we're seeing also from the trends on social media. Yes, we had several years where everything had to look perfect and beautiful. So I always call, the ego era. I'm not saying that it's finished, it's still there, but I feel that there's kind of
there's an awakening,
definitely
a transition that is happening, where people are also okay with sharing, hey, I just woke up, I feel like shit, and look, I have tears, and I'm sharing you why. Or hey, I'm not in shape, lately I'm not in shape, but I want to achieve that goal again for myself, and sharing their journey. I think that is much more interesting because we all have our flaws, and we all have our of course victories to share. So I think that people will actually appreciate you much more if you are real.
Well, that brings us to, I hear you have a show. Is that true?
That's correct.
Okay, I can tell because you are very fluent. It's great to hear you. You have so much to say, and I love it. So many people are listening. They would love to hear everything you're saying. So tell me a little bit about your show.
Yeah, so it is called the Simonetta Lein Show. It started 2 years ago, right before the pandemic. It was January 2020 when a production company reached out to me and said, I believe that I have maybe 3 or 4 million followers. So it was still, of course, a lot. And they told me, what you're doing is very appreciated. Why don't you have your show? So at that time, I had already a show. I shot 3 episodes for actually my non-for-profit. It's called The Wishful, and it aired via FNet Network with Amazon Prime and Hulu and Roku, all those beautiful platforms. And that was about how, basically I helped some people in their journey to make their wishes come true. So that was very, beautiful and refreshing. So I had that show going on. I also had my background working at Vanity Fair, where instead I had another show there where I was interviewing Italian celebrities. And so they told me, how can we kind of merge things together, meaning, you are this, person that is doing all these great things for the world, but we really would like you to speak with celebrities. Let's start this collaboration. So it started January, February 2020, and then everything closed in March 2020, and so we had to refigure completely everything. We finished the first season. Basically, I had to go back and forth with New York a couple of times, because when I went there and I realized that people were just not coming to the studio anymore. So I said, what am I doing? And so because the world, again, has changed, we decided to continue from the second season on with our own production. So we had, of course, to invest a lot. So for people that are asking, there's a lot of shows coming up. I mean, it's a serious deal. You have to be professional. So you have to invest in your machine, in your people, in your crew. You have to know what you're doing. At the beginning, we didn't know what we were doing.
Right.
So we were forced to, know, because again, the world shut down, and we said, we don't want to, be shut down. So let's see how we can, make this happen. And actually, probably that was the best decision ever, because we started to have so many incredible names from, I don't know, Steve-O, Buddy Valastro, Teresa Caputo, Tom Arnold, you name it, CeeLo Green, amazing. Bob Saget, my friend, rest in peace. They really supported me and, really wanted to be my show. Because again, I always say something a little bit magical started when I start my interviews. To me, just not only an interview, it's kind of more an experience. And again, I put all my heart and soul into it. And so we're starting now the 5th season. Believe it or not, we're already in the 5th season. So
wow, congratulations.
That's incredible.
Amazing.
Yay,
Woo!
good, bravo.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I know Nicole has a couple more questions before we wrap it up.
Yeah, I really wanted to ask you about your nonprofit organization, the Wish Wall Foundation, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so you talk a lot about, I know your mission is to help people get their wishes come true. And I wanted to know, you've done so much for the world, right? But what is next for the Wish Wall Foundation? What issue are you guys focusing on right now?
So right now, we have actually 2 projects going on in Africa, one in Nigeria, one in Kenya.
Wow.
In Nigeria, we have given them fertilizer. As you might all know, unfortunately, prices are skyrocketing all over the world for everything. Inflation is crazy. So fertilizer started to become a real issue. And basically, they came to us with this issue, say, which we don't, find money to buy fertilizer. We don't have the crops for the entire village. And so I said, we have to fix this. So we, bought fertilizer. And not only that, we gave them, assistance on the territory, so that they could actually, make the crops coming out. So it's great to see, they sent me some pictures and showed me, all the little plants coming through, and knowing that, again, we're feeding an entire village. It's something, so refreshing to me.
Wow, congratulations. That's very exciting what you're doing. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's very
you're really
powerful.
helping people, and that's what we try and do as well. So it's so nice to see.
Isn't it so nice?
Yeah.
The idea, I don't want it to sound like, how could you say? I mean, I want to invite people to do something good every day, even if it's a small little thing, even if it's just helping your neighbor, even if it's consciously smiling at someone, whatever it is. And isn't it so nice from your soul perspective when you feel, okay, I did this, and maybe, I changed that person's life, or at least that person hour, that person day, I gave something. It's something as a human being, the more you grow, the more you realize that, this life goes so fast. And at the end of the day, you want to, leave a legacy as much as possible,
right.
And there's this other project we're doing in Kenya. They have, I find it beautiful because it's a school only for girls. And, these girls normally would be in the streets. So they are, taken in. They have dormitories, so they can live there, eat there and everything. And I think that it's very sweet because they study everything, but it's based out of soccer for girls.
Oh,
So,
very
okay, they
cool.
study,
Incredible.
normal, but they also, have this team of soccer girls, that they are trying to compete also at a very high level. So I found it, beautiful. So now we're sponsoring, in there so that, these girls can continue to study and, support their dreams. So I find it very, very nice. And I always, challenge them. I'm like, I want you to see better at soccer because I'm Italian. That matters to me.
What a
Yeah.
bright light you are, right,
Yeah,
Nicole?
that's
She's such a
incredible.
bright light.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Haven't you learned so much today?
Yeah, I've learned so
You.
much, and you are such an inspiration to so many out there. Thank you so much for
Oh, thank you. Thank
sharing
you.
everything with us.
Hard.
I was just curious. So, how I know you talk about you're doing so much all around the world. It's honestly just it blows my mind. I really look up to you. But
Thank
how do
you.
you how does it start? How do you get into connection with these people? How is it like, okay, I'm picking this issue to focus on? Because there's so
Yes,
many, like mental health, poverty,
correct.
homelessness, right?
Correct. So also as a small tip, if someone says, how do I start non for profit? So you have, of course, to look, I always say, into your heart. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
what would you like, to see, doing better in this world? So my mission was a little bit broad, and it just, the story of my life. I am an actress, but I'm also a writer. I have a show. I have a non-for-profit. I'm also a singer. I'm a dancer. I've done so many things, and so many times I was told in life, "Oh, you have to choose only one little thing, right?"
Yeah.
So because they want to put you in a box. So my non-for-profit, and nonetheless, is the same as my karma. So I had to choose something broad. So making meaningful wishes come true. Again, this is my journey. Some other people, and again, as a small tip, feel in your heart if you feel that, I don't know, poverty is, your main issue, children, women, you can find, of course, your focus. In my case, I wanted to make people's lives better. So first of all, it started with a blog, honestly, at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned it when I was, again, working at Vanity Fair, because I was interviewing celebrities about their dreams and how they were achieving, those dreams.
Yeah.
So I said to myself, how can I achieve instead this that I'm doing with celebrities, but to everyday people? So first of all, I gave them a platform. So again, to go back, social media, internet can give, people opportunities. So I create a platform, and I say to people, go and put your dream, out there, write it. And, maybe someone will want to, join you. And actually did happen. And that inspired me. And then I started to say, can I help? Can I do something? So I started, to do from the small things. Then they were asking me, things more, if you call it superficial. So I would like to meet my idol, all of that. And
Yeah.
that was actually kind of a turning point, because I said, I want this though to impact the community. And so again, another small tip, when you start not for profit, you start with your mission, you start with your heart, and then you adjust it. So in that case, okay, make meaningful wishes come true. How? So people were asking me things that, listen, no dream is not important. But of
Right.
course, I was feeling like I need to give it a focus. And so I said, I want wishes that can impact the community. And then there you go. I had, my focus in several, of course, areas. But having that platform, people start to write me and say, hey, I have, for instance, I remember this amazing lady. She's a nurse. And on the weekend, she bought a big truck, and she put several, machines in order to go in poor neighborhood, and I don't know, take their blood, or,
Mm-hmm.
take their pressure, and, check as much as she can and give them, free health. And she came to me, she said, I need an AKG machine. Can you help me? And I found it beautiful as a story, and I said, through that, I impact the entire community. And then it was so great when I sent her an AKG machine, when, all those people's lives, they didn't have to go and wait and
Yeah.
spend a lot of money. They could have that, in that beautiful truck. So that was, something that inspired me. All these projects that I'm doing in Africa, they come to me. For instance, I've done a lot of projects also for girls literacy. That
Oh,
also
wow.
really interests me,
Yeah.
through education.
That's
Uh,
really important.
a medical facility, we have redone an entire medical facility that serves 800 people. So kind of a total makeover for it. So I also do appreciate, and again, shout out to other non-for-profit out there that, do send me projects. So please, if you do have a project that you feel that it's worth it, that will impact the community, bring it to me, because again, that, gives me, excitement, I would say.
Great.
I want to help.
That's incredible.
Awesome.
Well, we are running out of time. This has been amazing.
I have one last thing. Okay, so
yes.
What is your goal for 2022? Like, let's end it on what your biggest goal is for 2022.
Yes.
So 5th season, the Simonetta Lein show, though, of course,
yes,
be the biggest ever, and maybe to have a child.
Awesome.
So
well,
exciting.
It's definitely worth it. I can tell you, I've got a great son, great daughter. We're all sober. We're very close. It's the best thing you can do. Better than business.
Right?
I'll tell you that.
Women out there, do not be afraid to be in career and also have a family. It's very, very important. Actually, I think that could give you balance.
Yes,
right?
It definitely gives you balance. I can tell you that. Well, this has been so informational, so amazing. You're such a bright light. It's been incredible. I know. Let us hear about your Instagram and how they can find you. I know you have millions of followers. So
yes. So I always joke. I know that my name is not the easiest because it's an Italian, actually very unique name, but it's Simonetta. So it's SIMONETTALEIN. So Simonetta Lein. And I always joke, again, once you find me once, there's only me. Once you remember Simonetta.
Incredible.
So one of a kind.
Simonetta Lein, I'm very, very lucky. Right now, we are 11.3 million followers. So, I really thank each and every one of the people that follow me that, find, something good in me. And I'm, striving my best to make you all proud.
Amazing.
Well, you're such a bright light, and we are so grateful to have you on our podcast, The Power of We. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope our listeners had the best time ever listening.
And don't forget, Elite Home Staging sponsored this amazing podcast. We are wrapping up the season with this beautiful human. Thank you, Nicole. I've had an incredible season with you. I mean, you've definitely touched my heart this year. I love you.
Touch mine. Stop crying. You always make me cry.
I always cry. That's the thing.
Anyway,
we all got this together. We are the power of we.
The Power of We. It was such an incredible episode with Simonetta, who taught us so much about her nonprofit and all of the incredible, that's the only word I can think of, incredible things that she has done for not only this community, but so many communities out there in the world. So please go follow her on her social media page, which she shared earlier. And thank you all for being here. The Power of We.